We just dwelt on the extraordinary amount of money we're shelling out to murderers and rapists and dangerous criminals to persuade them to return to their home countries on very expensive flights. At least those are flights, you know, you can imagine, you know, it's fair enough that flights cost quite a lot of money, or at least you can accept that they do. Taxi fares, not so much. When you start talking about £600 taxi fares for hundreds of miles, you start thinking, well, there must be better forms of transport. But no, what we're talking about now, and this is the story of the day, it turns out that the Home Office contractors, they're called Clearsprings Ready Homes. So they are, in essence, the Home Office in this respect. They've been paying £350,000 a month, 350 grand a month, to one cab firm, which has run as many as 6,000 journeys, costing up to £600 each, often hundreds of miles. Now, the reason for this is that migrants are moved into various asylum hotels, various houses of multiple occupation, all of that, but they get moved around. So when they're in, you know, this asylum seeker hotel, they get a GP, a local doctor. Then they get moved somewhere else, often hundreds of miles away, but they have a right to keep the same doctor. So under the Home Office rules, we, the taxpayer, we have to fund these and for some reason the rules are we can't put these poor people on trains or aeroplanes. One taxi driver did go from London to Scotland. You would have thought even a plane might have been a better idea. So for some reason the rule is we can't put them on trains, we can't put them on planes, so they have to go by cab. £350,000 a month. We have paid out, you, me, every taxpayer in the country, millions and millions of pounds on these taxi cabs, these cab fares. Now even the migrants think this is crazy. The BBC spoke to a migrant, an Afghani guy called Kadir, who was driven 250 miles for a knee checkup. He told the BBC that the Home Office knows that it spends way too much money, and so do the migrants. He said, we know this as well, but we don't have any choice. So they don't. He sounds like a reasonable guy. He wanted to get on the train. No, you have to get on the taxi. This horror, this outrage emerged because the taxi firm that handles the south of England and Wales for the Home Office glories in the name. It's a catchy name. This company's called PTS 247.
A bit close to PTSD.
Not exactly handicabs or something. And yeah, PTS 247 is the name of the company. That company, the exact amount they were raking in per month was £344,000 a month. They launched legal action against Clearsprings, the Home Office contractor, over £2.75 million of unpaid invoices. So all of these details, these extraordinary details, came spilling out. The Home Office is not paying this bill because it says that PTS 247 has failed, consistently failed to provide evidence of journeys it has taken. One former manager presiding over this shambles, he alleged that some migrants invent appointments in order to get lifts into town and even for nights out. Mr. Director at the Centre for Migration and Control, migrant expert, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I don't think you have to be sort of interested in migration to understand that when it comes to public procurement, a lot is going wrong. But it always seems to revolve around taxi companies. You see it with sort of special educational needs children being transported to school as well. I think what happens is sort of whether it's contractors or local councils get locked into sort of contracts of some form or another with taxis, and that would perhaps explain, I think, in large part why sort of trains are steered away from as a means of transportation, because they've sort of entered this arrangement with what PTS 147 is.
Get it right, PTS 247. PTS dash 247.
It's a droid from Star Wars, that. Yeah. I swear it is ridiculous. Yeah. But anyway,
you'd almost think that they didn't want to be noticed, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it just seems like a sort of administrative code, doesn't it? But yeah, I mean, I think that's one part of this. I also think the second part of this is the contractors, so the Clearsprings of the world, those companies that run the accommodation, they have it in their contract that they were given by the Home Office that effectively it is their duty to make sure that all asylum seekers do have access to that medical and that dental care, and that it is sort of heaven and earth is moved to make sure that these individuals are at appointments sort of, and you know, people are rightly annoyed because there is an element of to the front of the queue, and I think that is partly because you have these organisations such as Clearsprings that are working closer with GPs, and there's a sort of a slipstream that the ordinary Brit doesn't have access to, which effectively puts these people at the front of the queue. I mean, this is really ridiculous situation, and again, it just shows that our generosity and our need to be nice is going to be the death of us. It's going to drive us to financial ruin. This is part of the reason why the accommodation costs for the asylum hotels is exploding, is going to cost us 10 billion by the end of the decade, just because of this kind of thing, as well as, of course, the increasing numbers of people coming across.
Well, Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, has launched a probe into this disaster, so she didn't know about it. And that's what we're talking about here, Robert. This is just slapdash, isn't it? You just know there are probably people all over the government in the cabinet today in Downing Street going, what the hell is this? And you think, well, why didn't you know about this? There's all sorts of this you know, astronomical waste, extravagant expenditure that goes on all the time, and you just know. Well, Shabana Mahmood, the Home Secretary, clearly found out today when the BBC and The Sun revealed this story. I would imagine Keir Starmer's finding out today. So unbeknownst to ministers, to the government, to people higher up in the civil service, this kind of slapdash administration and just spendthrift waste of taxpayers' money is going on all the time, and this is an outrageous example, isn't it?
It's just laziness. I mean, the asylum budget has exploded in recent years. It's increased sort of 7 or 8. Asking, you know, what is the surface that has meant that this is going on to this extent, because it's clearly something that isn't just because of the sheer numbers of people coming across, but it is also because of mismanagement, and it's because the sort of Home Office has got a hear no evil, see no evil approach to these issues.
As I say, I think the most telling thing here is, upon learning this today, the Home Secretary, who's supposed to be in charge of this, has launched an inquiry, an investigation into what the hell's gone wrong here. And that would indicate, of course, that Shabana Mahmood's predecessor, Yvette Cooper, also didn't know about this. I mean, you know, I'm not the greatest fan of this Labour administration, but I don't believe that even a Labour cabinet minister, secretary, would look at this and say, oh, this is fine. Even they would say, hang on a second, we shouldn't be ferrying people on £600 taxi fares for 250 miles to see a doctor. And the other thing we must point out, we must stress here, you know, this is another egregious example of how migrants are given such superior treatment to the citizens of this country. You know, while millions of Brits struggle to see their GP, struggle to get medical treatment, don't even get me started on dentistry, migrants are put in the fast lane, given taxis, the GP they used to have, oh, we'll drive you there. In other words, they get first-class medical and dental treatment. They're ferried 250 miles in the back of a Mercedes to see their former GP. Meanwhile, millions of us can't even get a phone call through to our GP, let alone ever see a dentist. It's outrageous, isn't it?
Well, exactly. And if he's having to be transported all that distance to see a GP that he's previously been seeing, how often are they actually seeing GPs as well? I think there was a big question, and this is again comes down to the fact that sort of this data just isn't collected. How much of a burden is this illegal migration and these hotels crisis putting on the NHS? How many GP surgeries in areas with a lot of asylum seekers are finding themselves completely swamped and unable to keep up with the increasing demand? I think there really is a two-tier system that has been created, a two-tier administrative system, not just when it comes to the healthcare, but when it comes to things such as, you know, free bike rental for illegal migrants, trips to Anfield, trips to zoos, across the board. There is an increasing...
Trampoline lessons, remember
Trampoline,
that?
and there was DJs and circus arts and all that kind of stuff, you know. Where is that for British people? There is none of this largesse extended to us, as we're seeing sort of taxes likely to go up in the next couple of months as well as a result of sort of Rachel Reeves really fudging the numbers.
Yeah,
so this is a situation out of control.
All that stuff you're talking about, the free driving lessons, free trampoline lessons, free trips to the bowling alley, free trips to the cricket, to the football grounds, and days out at the zoo, video games, consoles, mobile phones. We give them all this stuff when they get here, and it's given under the something called the asylum seeker support, the asylum support scheme, and in the past 5 years, folks, just so as you know, guess how much money has been spent on the asylum support scheme, with a lot of government input as well, a lot of your money as well. Guess how much? £6.6 billion. 5 years, £6.6 billion on presents and gifts for people who break into our country illegally, while they're residing at four-star hotels that we pay for. We pay for their free food and their doctors and their dentists and their lawyers, and so on and so on. I honestly, I just don't. It's just.
It's not just the government there as well.
Isn't it?
I think it's really. It's charitable sector, the voluntary sector, the churches. All of these organisations have just completely shifted their horizon. Yeah. Almost like the British population are too boring to bother sort of having to deal with and provide niceties to. Oh, this is a whole exciting new humanitarian phenomenon. We can pretend we're sort of the good Samaritan as from the Bible, and sort of really extend all our generosity and make sure we get a pathway to heaven through showing these people a level of benevolence.
Care for Britain? Boring. Let's go 20 miles across the channel to France. Care for Calais. Much more exciting, much more interesting. Never mind those boring Brits. They can go to hell. Let's go and help some foreigners, because then we can polish our halos, signal our virtue, and go straight to heaven. It's great, isn't it? 03444991000.